Hello and welcome to today's special edition of Great Recruiters Recruiter Spotlight. I am joined here today with Kelsey Barton and Julia Swenson with Flowerhire. Kelsey and Julia, how are you doing today?
Amazing. Happy to be here and happy to be a top-rated recruiter.
Happy to have you. And let me just do a little bragging for you. Just lay it out here real quick. Julia has over 300 reviews, 4.8 rating with a 90% highly recommended rate. And not to pick on you a little bit, but Kelsey has 312 reviews as well, a 4.8 rating and a 93% high recommendation. So obviously both of you are doing a great job taking care of your candidates, and just excited to learn a little bit more about you here today. As we kick off, I'm going to start with Kelsey. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump in. And Julia, you can give your background as well.
Sure. I've been recruiting for almost 15 years. I absolutely love it. I started in Fortune 500 recruiting in an RPO model, transitioned into cannabis 6 years ago in an agency model, and have been with Flowerhire for quite some time, filling mostly strategic level positions across the nation, but all of them are, the one thing they have in common is cannabis.
Outstanding. And how did you get into this industry?
It's a great question. I worked for 7 years at my first recruiting firm, and when I was looking to make a change, I wanted to work in an industry that was full of energy, that was a startup, and something that I was passionate about. For me, that was helping to find the right talent to join cannabis to further legitimize the industry, help spread legalization, and really keep people out of prison for the plant.
Outstanding. And so why are we here with both of you today is because you two work as a tandem team. And so if you don't get Kelsey, you're going to end up getting Julia. So Julia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been working in the cannabis industry now for almost 7 years. I had several mentors throughout college tell me that I should get into recruiting. And near the end of college, I became very familiar with the cannabis industry. I had a family friend who had grow operations in California. They opened up a retail store in California. So I got to kind of watch the whole process and became really interested in it all. And then I moved to LA after college and got hired by an entrepreneur who was starting a PEO for cannabis. So we did payroll, benefits, workers' comp in California and Washington State. And I found Flowerhire just about 5 years ago now, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. And obviously this is a budding industry, no pun intended, with legalization going across the country. And so you guys are in a really unique kind of staffing vertical. Can you talk a little bit about Flowerhire and the types of people that you help within that industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So Flowerhire has been around since 2017. We really started by placing strategic level roles in the California market. Since then, we've expanded. We've placed in 28 different markets, which for us is states, since you can't transition cannabis across state lines. And we really focus on, niche individual contributor roles, but primarily leadership level positions. So it's directors of cultivation, CFOs, anything that a normal company or a traditional industry company would have, cannabis has. And then there's some uniqueness, especially on the extraction and cultivation side.
That's awesome.
One thing I would just add too is the variety of positions that we get to work. I think we filled over 100 different job titles in the last 2 years alone. So we kind of look at the business in 3 different buckets: revenue facing jobs, so retail, sales, marketing, the make side, so cultivation, extraction, product development, operations, and then the back office, finance, accounting, legal, HR. So we get to work such a variety of different positions. And honestly, that keeps me really excited and engaged in every kind of project that I'm working on.
It's good. And Julia, you spent your entire staffing career in the cannabis industry. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And so, Kelsey, when you started, you were not in the cannabis industry. And can you share a little bit, is there a difference in the recruiting process and supporting somebody that might be in a more traditional market opposed to the cannabis industry?
There's a few things that are different. One is, at least in the early days, roles were really, really broad. So if you were looking for a sales director, they were also probably doing all of your client onboarding, a lot of product work. You were probably running marketing as well. And that's changed a little bit as the industry has matured and consolidation has happened and companies have gotten larger and created more niche roles. But I think the main difference is really the pace. The main difference on the candidate side is the pace of the work and the ever-changing landscape, as well as who the competitors are, and how many licenses are in each market. On the client side, I would say that there's a lot more client education and partnership to help scope out positions, as well as provide compensation analysis on what to expect. And sometimes saying, hey, this person doesn't actually exists at the level that you're looking at. So why don't we think about breaking this into two different roles and really find niche skill sets that can solve whatever challenges you're looking to solve by making this hire.
And do you find a lot of the folks that you place are first-time professionals in this industry?
We do about 60% of the folks that we placed last year had previous experience working in the cannabis industry. So that would be 40%. It was their first time working in cannabis. And, there's a lot of terminology. There's a lot of regulations and some uniqueness, even on the accounting and finance side with 280E, which is how you file federal taxes on a product that's not federally recognized. So those candidates, we try to provide a lot more TLC and just give them an idea of not only what to expect, but help them with resources so that they can start doing research before they actually, are butt in the seats and doing the work.
And I would say, based on the volume of reviews you've received, the ratings that you have, you're both doing a spectacular job representing not just Flowerhire, but the industry as a whole. And Julia, talk to me a little bit. How is using a product like Great Recruiters, how has that benefited you as a recruiter?
I just love feedback in general. So it's been, affirmed kind of what's working for me and for us as a company, and also helped us understand, times where things aren't working maybe. I think it's really helped me establish credibility and trust as a recruiter as well. It's, another platform for us outside of, LinkedIn and Google, where, if people find the link, they can read about others' experiences with us. Maybe they haven't had too many experiences with recruiters before. And it really, it helps me realize the impact that I'm making, because I think, Kelsey and I both are just working so hard, and, sometimes it's hard to come out, take a breath, and realize what you're doing. So it helps me just personally feel like I'm doing good work, which is really important to me.
And that's really important, I think, for a lot of recruiters out there. And Kelsey, what about you? How has Great Recruiters kind of impacted you in your recruiting career?
Absolutely echo everything Julia said. Another thing that it has impacted is understanding what means the most to candidates. You can kind of trend what people are really appreciative of and make sure that you're really incorporating that into every pre-screen that you do. The other thing is our marketing team actually uses testimonials and feedback out of Great Recruiters in our newsletter that's sent out weekly, along with different jobs and tips for job seekers. And it's just a great way to kind of highlight how important the candidate experience is for everybody at Flowerhire, and really making folks feel comfortable, especially in, a little bit of a more niche and unique industry.
Certainly. And congratulations to both of you for being named top rated recruiters for Great Recruiters. And it means that you are obviously continuing to push it. You're open to feedback, transparency, and you're doing a great job. Kelsey, what does being named top rated mean for you and mean for the candidates that you're working with?
It means it actually means a lot to me. And I think one of the things that really stands out is that, all of the hard work and the extra, making sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's doesn't go unnoticed by candidates. I think recruiters, you talk to so many different people, and just to make sure that everybody has that opportunity to provide feedback only makes me a better recruiter. And also to be in the same echelon as Julia and some of the other folks on our team, that's what really, gives me a big, warm, fuzzy heart.
Is there a little bit of an internal competition around it?
Everything's a competition in my world.
I kind of thought that might have been your answer.
Kelsey Martin competition, really?
What do you think being named top rated? What does that mean to your candidates?
I think it means that the candidate had an experience worth taking a few minutes and writing a review about. For me, it means it reminds me to just keep doing what I'm doing in a lot of the ways, in terms of something we talk about a lot internally at Flowerhire is authenticity and just showing up to work as your whole self. And that's something I've really kind of stepped into over the last few years. So I feel like, it's, it means being authentic and being transparent and being having follow through with candidates.
It's awesome. And I'll leave it up to the two of you to decide who to answer this, but what should candidates expect when working with you, when working with this tandem team? What can candidates expect from that experience? Julia, I'm going to pick on you.
I can kick us off. I'm sure Kelsey has something percolating that she'll say as well. But I think, you can expect a thorough, how should I say this? You can expect clear, consistent communication from us. You can expect transparency. You can expect education from start to finish. So whether it's education about the industry or it's education about who the client is and what they're looking for, or if it's interview prep about, Kelsey and I like to jump on with candidates that are interviewing for one of our clients. So if Kelsey has the candidate and I'm working with the client, we like to hop on together and talk about, if it's my client, we'll talk about, hey, as a reminder, this is what the client's looking for. Kelsey, we'll share some specifics about the hiring manager and their, how they interview and what kind of things we'd expect them to maybe ask to start thinking about. So really, from start to finish, like an educational, collaborative experience where, we're really in the candidate's corner, trying to make the best possible outcome for everyone.
And to add on to that, I would say we're not afraid to have the hard conversations. Recruiting, the best part is extending an offer. They start, they love it, but you actually reject more candidates than you actually extend offers to. So trying to leave every experience as a good experience and having the backup of great recruiters in that, and making sure that we are delivering hard to receive and hard to give news in a way that is helping candidates be better and helping them land their next role. So that's something that I feel like great recruiters is really helpful with, because sometimes, it's hard to know exactly how honest you can be or how candidates will receive that feedback when they're not moving forward. And I think great recruiters kind of puts a good lens on how folks take the feedback that we're delivering, because it's not always easy to figure out how to, be as transparent as you can.
No, and I love that you said that. And would you find that more people provide the feedback based on their experience with you rather than the outcome of the job?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably why we have, higher ratings that are close to a 5, because let's say, we probably reject 14 out of 15 candidates that we talk to, maybe even more. So to have those high numbers means that just reinforces that people do appreciate that feedback. And I think that's one of the gripes that folks have with recruiters sometimes, is that they just don't understand why. And it really reinforces that those conversations are helpful and really necessary.
And awesome. I would say it's so important for us to give candid feedback, because the relationship doesn't end there. We're here for the long run. Kelsey and I definitely aren't going anywhere. And we're here to build this industry, or, build a conscious cannabis community one hire at a time. And that to us really means like preserving the candidate relationship and, staying in touch with folks. And there are oftentimes candidates that we place that we've, known for several years, and then the perfect job comes up eventually. So it's really the long game for us.
Well, listen to both of you talk. One, kudos on the great work that you're doing, because it is obvious that you guys are doing a great job out there. And I think you hit on a number of things that I believe are just critical to having success in the staffing industry, whether in the cannabis industry or any others. And you hit on it. It's about being genuine and authentic. It's about being responsive, experienced, and knowledgeable. And you talked about it, like how you walk people through not just what your clients are looking for, but educating them for those new people on the industry, providing that advice and guidance along the way. And you hit on it a number of times. It's being transparent, and it is more difficult to give the bad news than the good news. But it definitely sounds like you figured out the key of the way to deliver that message in a way that's constructive and valuable for your candidates out there. And the final thing is, I love what you said. You talk to so many great people. Very often the right job isn't available for them. And so many recruiters talk to them and they move on to the next. And I love what you said, Julia. It's like, it's maintaining that relationship. The job should get easier the longer that you're in it, as long as you're focused on nurturing the relationships, adding value along the way. And then eventually, like you said, 2 years down the line, the perfect job comes up and it's an easy phone call to that candidate. They know who you are. They know you know what they want, and it's probably an easy fit from there.
Yeah.
So, well, that is a wrap for us today. Once again, if you're looking to get into the cannabis industry, there is no better place, no better people to talk to than the folks over at Flowerhire and Kelsey and Julia. Just keep up the great work. Excited to see this industry continue to flourish, and excited to see your continued success. That's all for now. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.